All right, so now you've heard it from the Rift Valley Regional Coordinator, George Natembea, when it comes to students who will be affected by this eviction, saying that 15 schools are given 4 million shillings. This school's actually bordering the Masai Mau forest. So what has happened? What happened to the fund that the government gave? And of course, owing to the fact that in 2013, 2017, during the campaign period, President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto also pledged about 100 million shillings to build schools in Narok so that the affected students can actually, be vacated to these schools in Narok. So while the schools built, what is the fate of these students? Not only the students, but also what is the fate of 60,000 families who are going to be affected by this eviction? Talking to us this morning in our studio, we have none other than Bernard Oching, who's also Benson Oching, who's also an environmental expert, and the Honorable Hilary Kosgei. Let me just begin with you, Mheshimiwa. You've heard what Rift Valley Regional Coordinator George Natembea has to say about the 15 schools.
Yes, thank you very much. I think Natembea is speaking half-truths because he is confirming that the government of the Republic of Kenya gave these 15 schools 4 million each. But he is not telling Kenyans why these specific 15 schools and not the entire schools in Narok County.
But he said, if you heard him correctly, he said these schools are those that are bordering the Mau forest.
Yes.
And he's saying that some of these schools, he's questioning also the registration of these schools. So he's talking about the 15 schools that actually border the Mau forest.
I'm telling you, these 15 schools are the same 15 schools that he is closing. So when he says that money was given to 15 schools bordering this region, I want you to know that in 2013, the confidence of the people of Mau was given, first of all, by President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy, being the prior to the run-up to the 2013 general election, when they went there to ask for votes and support. And the people were asking them, what is the lasting solution to our problems here? People actually want a lasting solution. Because after 20 years of cat and mouse, getting it wrong, every election cycle, it is used to win votes, to paint others as bad leaders and paint those who support these people to settle there as good leaders. The people themselves wanted a lasting solution. And the president guaranteed them that when they win, they will give a solution that will involve mapping out the areas which are catchment areas, which needs to be protected, and which I agree. And then two, that their livelihoods will continue without much interruption.
So as we speak today, from where you come from, should the government suspend this exercise, or should the people be evicted as from today?
First of all, the point here is simple. There have been task forces that have been formed over this issue, beginning from the Ntutu Commission of 1986. We had this Cabinet Minister for Environment, Sambu, task force. We had Hassan Noor task force. We even have the latest task force that was formed by Keriako Tobiko on logging, control of logging. The first recommendation of this last task force agrees with the other recommendations, that it says communities that are found to live in public and community forests will be evicted after consultation with the leadership of those areas and the county governments and government agencies. And therefore, we are saying, because we have been trying to solve the Mau issue and all the time missing it, this time we want to get it right. And we are calling for dialogue. The arrogance with which Keriako Tobiko and Natembea are taking this issue will not yield the desired result that we want.
All right, let me bring in Mr. Oching. What is your take? Because you've heard from Mheshimiwa saying that, yes, these people have to be evicted, but in a humane way. But I believe you've also seen the pictures that were playing on our screen, how Mau Forest looks like as we speak today, compared to what Mau Forest used to be.
Well, thanks a lot, Brenda. It's good to be here. It's unfortunate that a matter of such importance has been caught up in the politics of the day, as we normally do in this country. Mau is the largest closed canopy forest in the whole of this country and the most important water tower with national, local, and international benefits for our survival. But it's also very clear that what Mheshimiwa says is very true. as a lawyer, I would be the last person to want to see people being thrown out of their homes, homes being burnt and being treated inhumanely. There are standards and conventions to which Kenya is a party, including International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, which require that when evictions occur, no one is saying that evictions can never happen. Evictions do happen for good reasons, one of which must be in the interest or greater good of the public or in the public interest. And no one doubts that the case of Mau is of such importance to this country, internationally, and of course globally. So no one is saying that people can't be evicted. But what we are also saying is that eviction should happen according to law.
So what you're saying is eviction should happen, but you're saying that that process of eviction should be done properly?
Definitely, not just because our constitution requires it. We are also parties to international conventions and standards of practice, which require that we abide international law and we respect human rights.
Okay.
Notwithstanding the fact that this is a really fundamental issue, and one way or another, people just need to move out of the Mau.
And it's good you're saying that whatever happens, at the end of the day, both of you are agreeing that people need to move out, but in a good process. But which begs the question, because some of these people who are staying there say that they have genuine title deeds, and they're saying that this is trust land that they bought way back from the Narok Municipal Council.
The matter of genuineness of title deed, I think, is also very much political in this country. We know very well how a number of these title deeds have been issued. Every election cycles, when our leaders go to look for votes, they promise people to give them title deeds. And the title deeds are normally processed, and courts have affirmed this. They are never processed according to procedure required of land law, which basically goes to the issue of validity and sanctity of those titles. On the one hand, therefore, it's valid to argue that they are not worth the paper they are written on. They are written on paper. Of course, one person was saying, kama kona zile za chuma alete. But the bottom line is that these titles are never issued according to law, and therefore, in some cases, the courts have said they are not worth the paper they are written on. And that is where we need to go back and say, what exactly must we do as a country to ensure that we handle this matter with the seriousness that it deserves?
So, Mheshimiwa, here comes in the government through the cabinet secretary saying that these title deeds, and we have him on record saying that these title deeds are not genuine, yet people are saying it's trust land, we bought it. The government is saying, no, you're living in Mau Forest.
Let me give you a small back history about this issue so that you understand. In the 70s, when the Maasai group ranches divided these lands into their major clans for their own purpose, they, in the 90s, sought permission to subdivide these lands so that they can sell. Those days, there were a lot of Kipsigis community people in Bomet and Kericho who didn't have land because of the historical displacement of the colonial times when the British took 1 million acres of Kericho to plant tea. So there has been a large amount of people who are landless. And these people were actually hawking these services. They used to come to Bomet, to Kericho, to say, come and buy land. Of course, those trust lands belong to them. They bought those lands. And then, when they exhausted it, the same ranches ballooned the same trust land and continued selling to these people. And these titles were issued by the Narok Lands Office. And by and large, a lot of them were genuine, because those people you are seeing on your screens, most of them have never gone to school. You realize somebody saying, kama yako ni ya chuma, lete tuone.
And because, right now we're talking about 5 ranches actually.
Yes, and we're talking about 5 ranches, 5 Maasai ranches. So because of that, when someone gets a document from a government office and he is a layman, he has no reason to doubt the government that he is in place. We are not saying these things were forged in River Road. They were produced in a government office. And therefore, even as you investigate their validity, you first investigate who issued all these things, and then you ask yourself, is it enough now to punish the innocent buyer?
But as much as you're talking about, having genuine title deeds, which brings in, Ochieng, you're an governmental expert, but then let's talk about you looking at it in terms of law, because you're also a lawyer at the same time. Should they be compensated? Because they're saying we have genuine title deeds. we bought this from the Narok, the former Narok, the defunct Narok Municipality Council?
No, the question of compensating people with the title deeds or people who have occupied land is not in doubt. They must be compensated because that is what the Constitution requires. Mheshimiwa talked about a series of task forces. The bottom line of each and every task force has been a recommendation that people be compensated. In fact, around about 2013 or so, the issue wasn't whether they were moving out or not. It was whether they are moving out after being compensated or whether they are being compensated before they move out. I think that is where the impasse was.
Okay.
And so the law requires that when you evict, you do it humanely, you do it under important conditions, which they say overriding or public interest, and you do it according to law. So one of the conditions of according to law is that you compensate people for value, because a lot of them were innocent buyers. But let us not forget one fact. This matter is also very political. There were people who irregularly got land which was supposed actually to go to landless people in the Mau, large chunks of land, and these are well-placed, politically connected individuals.
Okay.
And if you investigate well, the report of the task force, which was a 2009 report of the task force that was formed by the Prime Minister, indicated very clearly that there were so many people who irregularly got land, and if you examine closely, you will find that a lot of these people are the same people who come as political leaders and raise emotions around the issue of Mau. So we just have to separate the chaff from the wheat and know who is genuinely interested in the interest of the people of Mau and who are using the people of Mau to actually protect their own property and to protect their own interests, because we have both inside there.
All right, and that's a discussion that you're also having with our views on our social media platform, specifically Twitter, where we ask you, should the government suspend the planned Mau evictions? I can see so much of your feedback already streaming in. I'll be sampling them during, this broadcast of News Center and also at the end tail of News Center. Let's continue having that conversation at KTN News, KE at Zeda. Brenda, begin with the hashtag KTN News Center. Allow me to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll need to know also from a political leader, from Mheshimiwa, Hillary, why the government is so quiet about it. When I talk about the government, I'm talking about President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto. We've not heard them talk about this. The last time we had them speak about Mau eviction was way back in 2013, 2017. So we'll get to know why, the political leaders are so quiet about all this process. So let's take a short commercial break. We shall be right back.